It's all right though.
All right. Okay, cool. All right, everybody. Thank y'all for being here. Y'all know me as Q, and we have special guest Miss Mitzi, Queen Mitzi, on, and I'm gonna let Mitzi introduce herself. Just introduce yourself. Tell us who you are, what it is that you do.
That was not the plan, but okay.
Oh,
But no,
Mitzi.
that's cool.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Mitzi Ruddock, and I am founder of Black Cannabis Access. It's an organization that was essentially built out of need and necessity. After I realized the state, the leaders, the powers to be were not going to come in and truly give us the education and the supplies necessary in order for us to move forward in the cannabis industry, Black Cannabis Access was born. So what we do is we help us get, if you're interested in the industry or if you're on the Black market side, we help you through step-by-step to getting your license in the cannabis industry. And we do that through business development as well as industry development, dropping nuggets, dropping dimes, and ensuring that we know what's happening in the cannabis industry so we can make educated decisions and be able to move forward effectively and efficiently.
Okay, good. I'm sorry, somebody was gonna say something, Gabe? No? Okay. So okay, question.
Only. Yeah, I was just asking if that applies just to. Does that apply to Michigan only, the assistance?
So that's a good question. I mean, I can help. It just depends on what's going on in your particular state. I could definitely help you with moving a certain way and really start giving you the support that's necessary for you to move forward. So for instance, what that'll look like is, this is very political. And I never would have thought that this would be political. And so there are things that you're going to have to do depending on where your laws are at to move forward. So I'm going to say no, and it's a case by case situation, depending on where your laws are in your particular state.
Okay, Mitzi, I would like to ask you, how do you see the laws in Michigan, particularly Detroit? You know, that's where a lot of us are from. How do you see the laws as it pertains to people that looks like us? How do you see things? And just tell me about how do you view things in Detroit?
So on the state level, the laws are not helpful. And it applies pressure on the city level, specifically majority Black cities. Because if the state does not implement certain laws to help us, protect us, push us forward, then now it's up to the city to put together the laws and legislation in order for us to move forward effectively. So specifically, now we're talking about the social equity program. The social equity program for the state of Michigan is essentially peanuts. I call them peanuts, coupons. And they help with fees, but they aren't giving us any, resources or tools that are necessary for us to move forward. There's not a lot of transparency. So those things, now I work with Councilman Tate directly in regards to putting together the ordinance for the city of Detroit. And, now I have to force him to clarify that, to make it more clear. And so we're getting help, but it's like slowly but surely we are getting help to move forward in this industry.
And who is Councilman Tate, for those who don't know?
He is one of the council members for the city of Detroit.
City of Detroit, councilman. Okay, and what is it that, say, the citizens of Detroit, what is it that we can do, if there's anything that we could do to sort of like even the playing field, so that we can get more what I would call socially disadvantaged people or Black people,
Yeah.
to have a equal playing field in this industry?
So it's getting involved. Even if you're not a cannabis fan, this is way beyond cannabis. And the reason why it's way beyond cannabis, because we're talking about economics here. And to continue the barrier of entry for us, specifically in this industry, I always say it's a genocide. It's an economic genocide. And I know it's a strong word, but it essentially is. Right now, it has shown its face of the disparities every day when we are not in this industry. This industry, I don't know what industry will allow us to get in, or what industry would allow us to own it in our own communities from A to Z. We don't own not one industry from A to Z, not one. We're not producers, we're not manufacturers of anything. So this industry is vital. So what we need to have these conversations for number one, so we can eliminate these barriers amongst ourselves, these false propagandas about what this plant is and what it looks like in the future. We have to have these conversations in our communities because they're coming. But when they come, do you want them to be them or you want them to be us in the community, right? So these are conversations we must have. We got to really start tapping in and digging in, supporting Black Cannabis Access.
Right. What's Black Cannabis Access?
I just described that earlier. So that's kind of like, it's kind of, yeah. So you can go to blackcannabisaccess.com and really, you'll. Oops. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know what's going on. I'm sorry. Hang on a second.
Oh, no problem.
All right. So,
may I add, and the reason I say that is because I just took a course, a program. Mitzi has a course, and I just took a course in there. And you know, myself, I'm in the cannabis industry. I'm a grower, and I've been in this industry. I would like to say all of my life, to be honest. And you know, as in the Black market, and from taking this course through Mitzi, I feel so confident and just reassured that I'm going to receive a license under the recreational law in Detroit, in Michigan, where I can legally grow. I mean, aside from the medicinal, I do have my license for that. However, and then, you know, we can grow, I believe it's like 8 plants or something per person here as well. But, you know, in addition to the consultations that I've done in growing, you know, I can honestly see, have vision and seeing that I'll one day soon have a facility, a grow facility, you know, and that to me, I don't feel confident that I would have been able to achieve that without Mitzi and the course that she offers. So I would like to ask you, you know, if you could expound on the course that you offer, and also will question: is it possible for people who don't live in Michigan to receive a license in Michigan? If they don't live here, can they still receive a license to do business in Michigan?
So I appreciate that. Thanks, Q. So yes, if you don't live in Michigan, you can get certain licenses. So you will not be able to have access to a Grow A 100 plant grow license and a micro business license in Michigan. you have to be a resident to get those 2 licenses. That's a Class A 100 plant grow and a micro business. Micro business license, you have all 3 licenses. Retail, you can grow 150 plants, and you can be a processor. So it's 3 licenses for the micro businesses. And then Black Cannabis Access developed Pathway to Legal, and that's the course that I teach. And that just takes you like all the way from, I have to ensure that we have the necessary tools to be able to sustain and succeed in this industry, because there isn't any money. Now I got to prepare you all for the industry and prepare you all for investors to invest in you all. So the class just it gives you the fundamentals. And I know I went to Mercy. I went to an all-girls school. Parents paid money, right? But I still came out of there not knowing no financial literacy. I didn't get that at all. So it's a shame that these pieces were not given to us to be able to manage our funds and manage, let alone personal, then business funds. Now we're talking about millions of dollars here. So you're going to have to be able to manage those monies and make decisions, make sound decisions to be able to succeed. So that's what the Pathway to Legal does. It gives you the tools, it gives you the resources to be able to do that.
I mean, and it's really step by step. You know, I took, and a lot of people on here know that I was in Dr. Boyce Watkins' class. He had a mastermind class that I paid for and took. That was a year-long course, and especially this was in 2017. You know, and for a lot of people, the cannabis industry was pretty fresh, and I left it without having accomplished a lot, you know, and it was very discouraging, you know, on a legal end for me to be able to see that I had a future in this industry. So, and with Mitzi, I mean, within a few weeks, you know, I started a business, I incorporated. I mean, I learned so much about the legal aspect of, you know, in terms of banking. Just I accomplished in a matter of 2 months, you know, what I didn't accomplish in an entire year from another program. And I say that just to kind of show that what Mitzi is doing is tested and proven, in my opinion. You know, I would like to say. Okay, so and I like to add, like piggybacking off of her when she said it's bigger than cannabis. You know, we in Detroit, there's a lot of Arabs and Chaldeans who own liquor stores. You know, and I'm talking about ownership, owning liquor stores, the grocery stores, you know, gas stations that they don't live here, but they have business here. So when she speak of, you know, I don't know what industry we can have ownership in, you know, besides this one, or this is the opportunity for us to have ownership in. It's like, you know, it's so true. So, you know, it definitely enriches us, and as a, you know, as a community, as a people. And I just like so happy that that this is what she's doing, you know. So would you agree to that, that, you know, what our city looks like, and it's the same thing, you know, across the country, you know, Black people not in Detroit being one of the, I think, the blackest city in the country, you know, and one of the most impoverished. I think we were number 1 in terms of poverty. So, you know, all across the country is not a lot of ownership, you know, so this is a great opportunity for us to have ownership in.
Most definitely. Black Cannabis Access, we are inspired and committed in creating owners. And I know that ownership is not in everybody's cup of tea, but we have to start somewhere, and it starts with owning. Own something. What is I love him to death, Claude Anderson. Own nothing, control nothing, right? Own nothing, control nothing. And that's kind of one of my mantras that I stand by. And we got to start somewhere. And this is a foundation of ownerships that Black Cannabis Access is striving to produce is owners, because out of the owners, right, now you're able to employ other Black people. See, too often we are not owners, and we have kids. Our kids go to school, they go to college, and then they take their talents and go work for them. Like, what are we doing? These chains must be stopped. These chains got to be broken somewhere down the line. And our talent, I believe, is talent. It's talent in the hood. It's talent all over the place, you know. And I just want to tap into that and let people know that there's someone here that understands, that comes from where they come from. I grew up off of 6 Mile. And although I went to a private school, that didn't stop me from being around what I was around in 6 Mile. So just to know that someone is there that can speak that language and can bridge that gap between one side to this highly regulated side, from the Black market to the highly regulated side. So that's what we do, and I'm just committed. I want to see this industry look like us, specifically in our own communities.
What if you don't live in Michigan? What type of license can you get? I don't know if you answered that question, but what type of license can you receive?
You can get a that's a tricky question, because our laws are kind of weird right now. So if you got a question, just ask me. But so right now in Michigan, you are able to, if you do not live in Michigan, you are able to get a transportation and events. That's all you can get. If you don't, that's only because you don't have a medical marijuana license first. So you'll have to go through the medical side in order to obtain other licenses. So if you went through the medical side, you can go through the medical side and you can get any of the 5. You can go get a grow. You can go get a provisioning license, transportation, processing, and secure transportation. You can go get those if you go through the medical side first. Once you go through the medical side and you're approved, then you'll have access to Class B, which is 500 plant grow. Class C is 2,000 plant grow, and these are on the recreational side. And then you'll have a retail, and then you can have access to processing, safety, and transportation on the retail side. But you have to go get a medical license first. I hope that made it.
Yes. Question about, no, that's fine. Question about that. I feel as though with the state going rec, I feel as though the medical side is almost, to say, like, kind of phasing out. Would you at this point recommend, if someone wanted to have a business in the cannabis industry but don't live in Michigan, would you recommend them attempted to get a license on the medical? Yes.
That's just tricky, because you got to be straight and narrow, to be honest, and you got to have capitalization. So you're going to have some money in the bank, a paper trail, and your background got to essentially be clean. So that's why that was the barrier to entry for a lot of us going in when the commercial medical side was first available. We couldn't get past the background check, and we ain't had a capitalization and paper trail. So if you have those things, go shoot for it. But then again, if the goal is to be on the recreational side, like, you're gonna go through a lot of hell to get through the medical, and then turn it back around and pay for recreational fees to be recreational. Then you're gonna have to manage both. You gotta manage medical and you gotta manage recreational businesses. So that can be challenging.
Yeah, I face some barriers on the medical side myself. You know, with the background check and having a criminal record. But that was some barriers that I faced. But so could there also be other ways for an out-of-stater to be able to say do business here or have ownership of any sort without having, or say, like, I'm thinking of like partnership. Would that be an option for someone who's out of state?
Yeah, most definitely. If you don't want to show up on the paperwork, you can come in and have 10% or less. And you don't have to produce any paperwork. You don't have to go on the application at all. You don't have to be, so that's an option. Or you can come in and be a partner and do a supplemental application.
Okay. All right. I wanna move to asking if anyone have any questions as of right now. Do anyone have any questions? Chef Joseph?
Yeah, no, I think what you're saying is, yeah, it's just, it's just, yeah, it is something what you're talking about your school, and, it's just a shame not having, the knowledge and everything that, and just the whole things that every other community has, and it's just really sad to see. But, I definitely want to congratulate you on, taking the horse by the reins and, and making something happen with that. I will say I blame our leadership straight up. That's just what it is, because there's no excuse, and we should have been taught this. If we couldn't get it through school, then yes, our leadership was at that time, or supposed to have guided us to entrepreneurship and things, but you see what that is doing now. So, but congratulations. And yeah, the partnership thing is good too as well. And I like that. Thank you.
Anybody else got any questions, Gabe?
Yeah, actually I do. What kind of turnaround does the licensure take? So for the different licenses you mentioned, what's the typical turnaround for those?
So on depends on what side you're talking about. There's a couple of things that's an issue. So it depends on what license you're talking about, and then recreational or medical. And then it also depends on what municipality you're seeking to open your establishment in. So do you want me to take recreational or medical? Which one you want me to answer? Or both?
I'm not in.
Okay, where are you?
Michigan at all. It was more of a general question. So, but I'm in Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh.
But
yeah. Okay.
But
so
let's just take Detroit for example.
Okay, got you. So Detroit has not gone recreational yet. Detroit will go recreational October 31st. So the state process takes about, or state pre-qualification process takes about 45 days. And then you got to go to the city. And the city is going to take you about 90 days. And that's at least, because this is new. The recreational is totally different from medical. So that's going to take about 90 days to get through. And then you have to go back to the state. So then you're looking at probably another 60 days or 90 days or so. So right now that process.
Do you have to have certain equipment or facility?
You have to have a certain equipment for what specific license? For any of them? Or are we talking about grow?
Yeah, either. I was just saying to be approved for licensure, either recreational or medicinal, do you have to show proof of specific either facilities or equipment in order to get approval?
So equipment, no, but the facility, yes. So the facility is really, that's where the municipality comes in, because they are the one that's giving you permits. They are the ones that giving you the green light of certificate of occupancy. That's what we call it here. So yes, it's all on the city. So once you pass the state on the pre-qualification level, that's you. That's your background, that's your financials, that's you. That's step one. And then step two is the facility. So you have to identify a location. You have to go to the municipality, make sure that it's in the area that allows your specific land use, and then you go through the necessary processes and channels from there to get your city of occupancy. And Atlanta, I have some friends in Atlanta, and Atlanta just they started off wrong. They didn't have social equity in mind. That's number one. And they have big business. Big business just, it runs Atlanta right now. So if you want to if you want to get in, you're going to have to organize in Atlanta, and you're going to have to fight for it.
Mitzi, since you speaking of social equity, can you give the components of the social equity so we can kind of see how social equity affects the fees and that goes into the licensing, so that people will know, like,
Okay.
kind of have idea of what that look like?
Yep. Okay, so first, let me say this about social equity. So social equity is like the buzzword nowadays, right? It's across the country. Everybody's like social equity, social equity, social equity. So it changes from city to state to state to state. And so here is defined as promoting disproportionately impacted communities that have been harmed by the war on prohibition and enforcement. They want to encourage participation in the industry. So that's kind of what our definition is in Michigan on a state level. So what it is right now is you get coupons off, you get percentage off or fee reductions off of your licensing fee, application fee, and renewal fee. So here in Michigan, it's $6,000. And you get you can get a fee reduction depending on if you are a resident within a disproportionately impacted community from the last for 5 years of the last 10 years. For 5 years of the last 10 years, you get 25% off. Then you get another 25% off if you have a marijuana misdemeanor. You get 40% off if you are have a marijuana felony, and you get 10% off if you have if you are a caregiver between 2008 and 2017 for 2 years cumulatively. Detroit is also going to have a social equity program, and we have not finished developing it yet. For those of you who are from Detroit and live in Detroit, I can give you a little nugget. We have worked out thus far a legacy Detroiter. That's what it's going to look like. It's a legacy Detroiter. And it's going to look like you're going to have to prove that you have lived in the city of Detroit for 15 years of the last 20 years, or 10 years and a conviction, or 13 years and below income. That's what a legacy Detroiter is. Also, I want to just throw this out here is that I want you all to please, 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 if you are in if you are in a community, right, that has been disproportionately impacted by war on drugs or war on drugs or police enforcement, if that's been like an issue or have plagued your community, you really should be fighting for social equity. Social equity can give you a leg up, but it needs to be written right. It's a policy thing too. So that's where the politics part comes in. And I'm not a politician person at all, but I found myself having to be in that room and at that table in order to make sure social equity shows up right. Too often, social equity doesn't. Social equity is failing across the country, specifically when it comes to the cannabis industry. It's not enough Black people. It's not helping enough Black people. And that's why I'm going so hard for Detroit, because it's 85% Black, and social equity must work. We got to see more Black faces in this industry.
Cool. Okay, back to the questions. Andromeda, do you have any questions that you'd like to ask? She might not hear. What about you, TJ? Any questions, TJ?
No, none off the top. I think, well, I will ask one. For people in states where the laws haven't or don't allow for medical and or maybe they allow for medical, but they don't allow for recreational. Any suggestions for how folks should start to work on getting their license in those states?
You mean getting your state to adopt a legislation for it?
Well, they're working on legislation right now, but in terms of being able to be an owner of a recreational facility, and I'm probably not saying it quite the right way, are there steps that I or others should be looking at taking if their states aren't as progressive as Detroit is at this point in time?
Right. So one, you have to start having relationships and talking to your state reps. That's like the first step in city council members or whatever kind of legislative body that you have. You have to start engaging them, because you will be left out of the conversation every time. If you're not at that table, they're going to push something on you that you don't agree with, and that's going to essentially be a barrier. So I would start there. You got to remember that these people work for you. They work for you. You are the ones that put them in office. So start talking to state reps, senators, city council people, and organizing also. Because once they see you have, 10 people, then 20 people, then 50, then 100 people, then 1,000 people show up, they can't turn their back on you. I would start there. Because it's easily that they are going to be drafting something. So for instance, let me give you an example of what happened in Michigan. We said yes to proposal 1, but I bet you guys didn't even know that there's $20 million that's being redirected to veteran PTS research. And that has already been allocated to a doctor that doesn't even live here. Like, how did that happen? You know what I mean?
Wait, say that again, please.
There has been $20 million for veteran PTSD research that has been redirected to a doctor who does not even live here in Michigan.
Wow.
So there's people that's lobbying, there's people that are paying. That's why capitalism is working. All of this greed and special interest is absolutely terrible. And we're not showing up at the table because I guess, a lot of things has to do with fear and not thinking that our voice matters. But I'm here and I'm a living testimony that, I never thought that my voice, I never really thought that I was going to be here and having these conversations and being asked to participate and be at the table. So stay encouraged that your voice matters, and it's hard work, it's frustrating, but I promise you that together we can make a change, we can make a difference.
Thank you.
All right, Mrs. Jamerson, do you have anything to add or ask, rather?
Not at the moment. Everything that I wanted to know or had in my head to ask, it has been answered. So I thank you very much.
Great, you're welcome.
Absolutely.
All right, John. Go at it. I see you writing down. I know you got a. I know them wheels turning over there.
Well, when you first told me who was coming, I kept telling you, I said, man, I know that name. And then when I saw her, I said, I interviewed her a couple of years ago on Intellectual Chocolate.
Really?
What?
Yeah.
Right up.
Yeah.
Small world.
Remember that? Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
As soon as you said it, I said, yes. Oh, that's crazy.
Wow.
look at the
Did
universe.
that.
Yeah, so as soon as I saw you, I said, I know that's her. And I had to go back to my computer and pull up the interview. And I said, yeah, that is her.
I came a long way since that interview. Lord, that's what I'm talking about. Like, woo!
Look at that.
So that,
Wow.
one, I just want to say congratulations for still being here. You know, that we were both super green. I think you
Yeah.
were maybe my first or second interview at the time. And, you know, people jumped on us and talked about us and everything else. I want them to see this interview. I want them to see that what perseverance is, and that some of those that took some swings at us at that time, that they didn't knock us out. So I'm glad to see you here still advocating and putting in work for us. You know, you said something that really struck me as to part of what the issue is, and what I've learned since I've been on the journey that I've been on trying to help out and see what I can do, is that a lot of times we're purposely left out the loop. You know, one, we don't automatically have those direct ties into the know. You know, by the time we know it, you know, it's outdated. By the time the information gets to us, you know, it's just like calling the popo. Don't nobody want to call the popo because, you know, shoot, even if I'm innocent, you know, I got a high likelihood of something terrible happening to me or somebody that I care about. And so, you know, I don't want to be involved. Same thing with other parts of the government. You know, we've been ill-treated for so long that, you know, we like, look, you know, let me stay out the way. I don't need them in my business. I don't need them. But the thing is that we have to have advocates in those positions. And I'm glad that you're there to be an advocate for the people. Anything that we can do to help you, I offer anything that I can do as a service. Like I said, I'm glad to see you still here and everything.
Don't show that to nobody.
Listen,
I was gonna hit the screen share, but I said no. I'm gonna be nice.
Especially don't share it with Kwen.
Yeah.
But look, I was just
know.
about to say, nope, it's too late. I'm about to get that interview.
Yeah. So, but it was, you know, I look at, for example, when they gave out this $2 trillion to the businesses. If things were done equitably across the board, then that meant that $250 billion would have gone to our communities and to our businesses. But they didn't do it in that manner. They did it on a first come, first serve. So, you know, if we got $250 million among our businesses, I think we probably, it might be a high number. But 250 million versus 250 billion, that's where you see the injustice in our communities, how by the way that things are set up and by us not having insider voice and everything else hampers us. You know, I have had individuals that I knew that were telling me even before the stuff came out where to go fill out the forms and to turn in my stuff, because they're like, look, this stuff is coming out. So it's first come, first serve, turn your stuff in now. And I called him back and I said, well, you know, I'm looking at this stuff. I don't see anything where it's announcing this stuff. He said, it's not announced yet. You just go down to this building, you go to this website, whatever, and you fill out this form, you turn it in. And when they announce it, you're first in line, so you get your money. And so this is how things are in our community. The same thing as with the cannabis. You know, I believe we talked about some of that in the interview that I had about some of the issues that were occurring then. You know, you can really start to see them now. So I just want to say this. I know that ever since Kwen had started taking your course, he's come with a whole new demeanor and mindset with his business and stuff. I can definitely see the growth in him. So I just want to Thank you for the things that you've been sharing with him and everything else. Because I remember when he was up there asking me about, how do you grow a tomato? And I'm like, Kwen, you growing other stuff, it's the same thing. So, but no, he's definitely been stepping up his game since talking to you and dealing with you and everything. So I can see the results in him. I can see the results in your interview and stuff now. And like I said, I'm just thankful and proud of what you're doing and willing to offer any support that we can give you. One question I do have,
It's called
after all that fun-filled stuff,
Yeah.
is there an area that you think that people who are outside who may want to invest in, how they can come in and assist the people in Detroit in getting a better foothold? Is there anything that we can do as advocates outside or as partners or investors or whatever?
Absolutely. So we are putting together an incubator system because it's necessary. The cost to get a building, build it out, and put equipment in it, I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot of money for the majority of us. So the opportunity is going to be one in the incubator system, or possibly someone who has had a commitment in that craft. That's going to be part of our program too. But for right now, being in the incubator system, what we're doing is once they get their pre-qualification, we want to set up for them to be able to go right into an area, their own area, where they are able to hang their license and begin to grow.
Okay.
So the opportunity will be for them to help them with that operation. That operation, I'm hoping, first I thought I would be able to have them stay there for a minute and, get used to the regulations, get used to the, just how things are ran on the highly regulated side. But as I see how this is evolving, it might have to be a permanent place. So when it becomes a permanent place, that individual is going to constantly need and make sure that they are well capitalized to be able to sustain and be able to evolve. As I don't know if he told you all, but as I explained kind of earlier, the licensing in first of the class, we were talking about 100 plant grow license. And that was because that was the only thing that was going to be available at that particular time. Now the state is playing around and they're saying November 1st, it's not official, but November 1st, there might be an opportunity to get a 500 plant or 2,000 plant grow. Now, if you are a grower, you will understand that is like almost instantly millions of dollars, instantly. 500 plant grow is nothing to play with. So yes, and there's going to be so many opportunities there.
I know. I mean, I'm sorry, but I just thinking about that, what you just said. Me starting out, I was very interested. My mind was made on the micro biz license, where I would be able to grow 150 plants. But when you started to talk about that, I'm like, dang, that I might have to like restructure everything that I was planning on, because like you say, thinking about being able to grow that many plants, it's like instant millionaire. So, but in addition, besides that, I just it's funny, like because I always talk about my farming group. I'm a part of the farming group. I'm part of the farming group.
We talk about y'all all the time.
And it is so funny, like that y'all know each other, especially.
Right.
That's so funny. I mean, I just to kind of, first I like to say, like, my classmates are here, and I'm loving that. Thank you all so much. We're so supportive of one another and everything. But I can just remember, like I said, back in 2017, John, we were in Boyce Watkins, one of his courses, and he was like, I'm I'm gonna start this farming group, y'all, you know, and you know, if anybody want to join, and we talked about it, and I'm like, dang, man, you know, I grow cannabis, you know, and John was like, you know, well, you know, you grow it, you grow it, you use soil and stuff. He was like, well, that's good enough. I mean, but then, you know, just from being in the group, and John would always, I felt like he was throwing me out. Well, he grows cannabis, and I used to be like, shh, don't quit telling everybody that. You know, we done been out of state, Chicago and stuff, and you know, a part of groups and you know, boards, panels and stuff where there were you know, attorneys and pastors and stuff. He always, yeah, this Kwen, this Q, he grow cannabis, and I'd be like, oh my God, he's just gonna tell everybody. But you know,
I am
really,
too.
right?
I do. What I tell you all the time. I tell Q all the time, like he is the example of a young Black male who has changed his pathway. And oftentimes these young men just don't have a pathway. And I always tell him he is an example. I said, I can't wait to get your license. Because and I'm gonna tell the whole world, I'm gonna be like, you know, it's almost on the, he gotta get his license. Social equity is him. You know what I mean? Social equity looks like him.
Right. And I say all of that, you know, just being you know, thankful and you know, and just paying homage, or just, you know, it's an honorable thing to be a part of, you know, and I can appreciate it, you know, and I always speak highly of John, and I always to John speak highly of, you know, Mitzi. So it's like, wow, like, you know, y'all my mentors, and at the same, then y'all happen to know each other, you know, so it's like, it's really cool, you know. And now I'll be like, yeah, I grow, you know, I'm proud to say that I grow cannabis, you know, like, yeah, I grow cannabis, you know, so, you know, I just thank y'all for that.
You're great
like,
at
for real. Yeah.
You're great at it.
Yeah, thank you very much. Any more questions? Do my classmates, would y'all like to say anything? We got Juliet and RV and everybody on here. Hey, y'all.
Well, you know,
Anybody
we'll
like to
What
say
up,
pull up.
Joe?
You,
Look,
but you know, you tell us it's something going on. You know, we're gonna pull up.
Oh, you know we showing up every time. You know we pulling up.
You know, that's how we do. That's how we do.
yeah, that's
Well,
so
hello,
cool.
farming group that we've heard so much about.
For sure, we did.
Keep that.
Greetings, everyone. Greetings.
I want to say that it's definitely a pleasure to have you guys on. As you guys move forward in the things that you're doing, don't hesitate to reach out to us, because there's so many different avenues out there that you know, a lot of us have not even considered with cannabis, or with how we can network and put the things together to create that social equity, social economics, group economics across the nation. By you guys being in the position that you're in Detroit, eventually these other places is going to open up. And so you guys will basically be the grandfathers, so to speak, of what's going on across the nation. And by you being in the position that you're in, that's when we can take control over everything. You know, they're jockeying on their end with their major corporation, but we have a whole group of people of our own that we can go and pick up on. Black is where it's at right now in the world. Everybody's turning in this direction, and so we got farmers, we got people, economies, cities, towns, everybody out there. And so my thing is, you know, let's brainstorm on possibilities and ways we can create an industry. You talking about building something from the ground up? Where do you think you start? You guys are the starting point. So broaden your horizons, partner together. Part of our motto is that we're not in competition of each other, we're in support of one another. And that's why I don't hesitate to tell people what Kwen does. I'm not trying to put him out there on Front Street, because trust me, he think he get beat up. I get beat up just as much. Cause he's like, what you bring him here for? You know, we talking about food and he talking about this. And Kwen be like, man, I said, don't worry about him. I said, he don't understand, but I understand. This is the future. You know, you can't dwell on the past. We need food. Food is a must, but this is the future. And so we have an opportunity to be at the starting gates. You guys are that starting gate for everybody else. I'm in Indiana. Guess what? They have yet to even pass hemp.
Now imagine what it'll do in Gary. Imagine what they would do in Gary.
That's what I'm saying.
What?
So my thing is you guys are the catalyst. You guys are basically going to be what I believe the first Black city that is going to be able to come out there and set the stage for everybody else. Chicago can't do it because they got too much stuff going on there, and their monopoly on things is too strong. So we're going to have to come another way, and I believe that you guys could fit that bill with what you guys are doing, the way you guys are growing. We need curriculums, we need understanding and stuff, and what you guys are doing, I think can make that happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, absolutely, sure.
I definitely see you know, the two groups working together. You know, there's a lot that when I think about the two groups and the individuals, you know, that make up the two groups, it's like, wow, like Gabriel, you know, I always mess with Gabriel, and but he grows aquaponics, you know, out of Georgia. Chef Joseph Durrell, he does value added, you know, so he could take you know, he has a ginger drink, and he has a hot sauce, a kick sauce, you know, he teaches that, you know, so it's just even Miss Townsend and her dad, they're in California, you know, they grow cannabis as well. So you know, it's just so many different aspects of you know, that both groups, you know, possess. I mean, and not even it doesn't also have to do with deal with growing. You know what I mean? You know, it's so many other fashions that we can use in the industry, or the cannabis industry. You know, that professions that people have that we could all use. So I'm just glad that we all come together and had this meeting. It was actually a couple people who I wish was on the call, you know, who are not present. But I guess I'll make sure that they get a copy, and I'm positive that once they see it, they're gonna be like, dang, you know, can y'all bring her back? Can Mitzi come back? You know, it was actually a couple people I remember who you know, requested. It was like, you know, well, when are you gonna do something on cannabis? You know, when is it gonna be his turn? You know, to bring a speaker, because they know who I bring, it's gonna be somebody dealing with cannabis. So, you know, if it's okay with you, Mitzi, to ask, you know, right now, if you'll be willing to come back, you know, at a later date.
Absolutely. Anytime.
Cool.
And
well,
you know what? Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead, Queen.
I'd also like to add, as far as Mitzi coming back, that's always a great idea. But I don't know if your group knows that Mitzi has that meeting on Sunday from noon to 1, where she discusses social equity. And then from 1 to 3, we talk about the business and the pathway to legal. So that's always also an opportunity for those who are not able to attend this meeting to maybe attend on a Sunday when it's more convenient for them. But I did want to bring up the a little, you know, just the history, and I don't know the exact statistics, but at one time in the United States, there were over 100,000 Black farmers. And, you know, through legislation, through bullying, through policing and all that, you know, Black farmers lost their land. But here's an opportunity for, Black farmers to come back. Hemp is a huge industry that's growing, leaps and bounds, that we may be able to find our way back into the industry. But in addition, there's also a push for Black-owned grocery stores that are fed by Black farmers. There's an initiative here in Detroit, and I know there's one in Georgia called I think it's called Fresh Buggy. And then there's another one, Black Supermarket or something like that. I forget the name. If anybody's really interested in connecting, I can look that up on my Instagram page and give that to Kwen, and then Kwen can share it with the group. But there's a big push for this. I mean, everything that we stand on is soil. Everything that our bodies need, all the nutrients that our body need, comes from the soil and comes from the farmer. The most revolutionary thing you can do right now is grow your own food. Look at what they're feeding us. I have a friend that's in Tanzania right now, and she sends pictures of the food they have there. It's wholesome food. It's whole food. It's food that you can recognize. It's food straight from the earth, and not with all the pesticides and all that. So, I think we're all in a great place in this industry, and just, overall, and just what we need for food, just what we need to survive, just period. So glad to be here tonight, Kwen. This was a very good idea. And, glad to see you doing your thing, nephew.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah. Just like real quick, because I know we like to keep monitor and respect to people's time. We like to usually keep it at an hour, but I just like to say, my personal like testimony, so to speak, is John, we went down to Atlanta, and what was it, last year? I think we went to Atlanta, and I listened to how the people in the South, like these generational farmers, how they talked about losing their land, the land that had been in families for, hundreds of years, or, just long time, how they lost land. I mean, for me, it was so disheartening, and I didn't even know it was, that those types of things went on, me being, from the North, or how they call it, me being from Michigan, Detroit, like it was big, and it was like, wow, it's so prevalent. It was so many people, so many stories, and it was just like really, really, really real. But unless anyone else has anything to say, we're gonna call this meeting adjourned.
I want to say something really quickly. That translates into now 2020, right? And can you all imagine in Gary, in Detroit, in Atlanta, right? Walking into a store to purchase cannabis, and the person don't even look like you.
Mm-hmm.
That is what I mean by the genocide economics. That's what keeps my fire burning. Is like we're watching yet again our money being transferred into other people's hands and going right outside our communities. It is important that we have this ownership in this cannabis industry. We cannot have these stores, these grows from outsiders. We got to own our own community.
Totally
You're
agree.
here.
That's
You're
right.
here.
All right. Anybody else?
I thank you all for having me.
Okay, cool. Thank everybody for coming. Thank you all for having me. As always, I like to say thank you for having me. Thank you, Mitzi, for being here as our guest. Thank you, everybody. Peace and love. Peace and love. Peace and love.
Hey, Mitzi, one last thing. What time is your meetings on Sunday?
12 o'clock and 1 o'clock.
12 o'clock and 1 o'clock. Eastern?
Yes.
Okay.
What would be the topic of discussion?
All right.
12 o'clock is social equity, and 1 o'clock is pathway to legal. And we break down laws. You have any questions in regards to licensing? It's just a place where you can feel comfortable to ask questions about the cannabis industry.
And her contact information is in the chat. And if anybody has any other questions, you know, I'm the secretary. Y'all can contact me, email me, call me, and I'll give you, you know, any further contact information on Mitzi.
You the secretary? What?
I'm the
know that?
secretary.
Quen's
I'm
the
the
man.
fire
Oh,
group
no, put you to
secretary.
Way to go, Q. Way to go.
All right, he got some
That's
other
funny.
skills. Okay, yeah.
Check him
Uh-huh.
out being responsible and stuff.
Okay.
Y'all funny. All right, family. Look, don't. All right, family.
All right, peace and
All
love.
right. Peace
All
and
right.
blessings. Peace and
All right.
love.
Peace and love.
Thank you guys for showing up.
All
You
right.
did an
welcome.
awesome
Peace.
job.
Thank you.
All right.
Stay woke
All
and
right.
well, everybody.
You have a good
Have
You
a
night.
guys for
good
showing up.
one.
All right.
Good night.
Peace.
Bye.